Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we're going to be talking about the PayPal controversy. Not so much the misinformation and the $2,500 and the insanity of that, but the other terms of service that nobody seems to be discussing. Basically saying that you can't speak freely against quote-unquote protected groups. And you guessed it, gender identity. Oh, so they can tell me that there are billions of genders like Martine Rothblatt in transgender to transhuman, and I'm not allowed to speak out against that? Weird. And of course, the fining of something that's directly connected to your bank account for $2,500 when over 40% of the country, if not more, lives paycheck to paycheck and doesn't have $2,500. Instead, they've got a massive amount of debt, credit card and otherwise. We'll be discussing that. We're going to be talking about this, I don't know what else to say, but just repugnant, repulsive film that I was unaware of that came out in 2020 that basically portrayed a pedophile's dream lifestyle. They get to have their transhuman robot that is a small child and have a physical relationship with that robot slash child. But what took it over the top for me, and again, this is what they've been promoting for some time, is that they actually had CGI nude and love scenes. No, to me, that's CP. That's no. That's just, again, normalizing all of this on the road to the idea that you are no longer your biology and that destructive, perverse acts against children are okay because at the end of the day, they are literally trying to destroy everything that is good about humanity to push us into this transhuman nightmare. We're going to show you how it is profitable to do so. And by the way, the film is named The Trouble with Being Human. And then we're going to give a shout out to one of the Iowa mama bears who recently went to a school board meeting to show how some of these things are beyond extremely absurd. Then we're going to take your questions and comments. So if you are in there, we'll try to get to as many as possible. It's going to be kind of like an Ask Me Anything, but let's hit it now. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. We're almost at 70,000 over on YouTube, a platform that has gotten rid of me 4 times, and I've come back swinging. A platform that's demonetized me over 3 years ago now, and a platform that is utilizing the mafia-style thought crime of daring to oppose what? United Nations and World Health Organization policies and agendas. And I keep telling people, the next push is going to be this gender push because they've come out and lied to the public and said that there is new science. There is no new science. There are no new studies. This is absolutely made up garbage. And by the way, shame on you, Jon Stewart. Shame, I've had your back for a long time, even when I've disagreed with you. But for you to dare go after people that don't want children to be physically and permanently mutilated by surgery, you should be damn shamed. I don't know what happened, John. I really don't, because there is no such thing as a child that can make those kind of life-altering decisions. It's one thing if you want to get your ears pierced as a kid, right? That's reversible. Hell, you want to get a tattoo as a child. I got a tattoo when I was 16. I ended up getting it covered up. I grew out of it, like both physically and mentally. And it didn't look the same as when I first got it because I was 16 years old. And then, mentally, I didn't exactly like it. I wasn't quite there on what I actually wanted, and I had to get it covered up. You can't go back once you mutilate your genitals, John. And to not acknowledge that is just completely insane. So thumbs up, subscribe, share. I do want to let everybody know before we get going, I am a documentary filmmaker myself. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are free, and I want you to watch them. I want you to share them. You want to support this broadcast, forget about PayPal. Down below is the link to my Buy Me a Coffee, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. It's how we keep going. And I will be on the Reawaken America tour, not this weekend, but next weekend, and I'm probably going to be in Branson, Missouri 2 weeks after that. My next presentation will be on From Transgender to Transhuman, the True Trans Agenda, the factual one. And I just went on Clay Clark and exposed Elon Musk for almost an hour. All right, let's start with PayPal. Now, the headlines on this are the $2,500 on misinformation. And that's a big deal. It's supposed to go into play little under a month. They acted like it was a mistake. There's no mistakes about it. They're trying to push this as far as they possibly can, and until there is actual pushback from those in power, not just the people at the bottom, because they don't care about us. They don't care about us at all. They don't care about the color of your skin. They don't care about your gender. Okay, they don't care about any of that. They care about command and control over the peasant class. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, man, woman, gay, straight, doesn't matter. This is coming after you at all angles for having an intelligent and informed counter opinion to their great narrative. The social Darwinist predator class great narrative, which is why we are currently living through the post-truth world that they have put out there. Now, I want to scroll down. I want to read some of this. Okay. And by the way, if you look at this, one of the ex-heads of PayPal, David Marcus, basically said, hey, a private company now gets to decide to take money if you say something they disagree with. Insanity. Complete and totally insanity. There he is right here. Let's read the whole thing. It's hard for me to openly criticize a company I used to love and gave so much to, but at PayPal is new AUP, which is their policy, goes against everything I believe in. Not sure what you expected from a company founded by Peter Thiel and had Elon Musk. See, here's the Musk right here. Agreed. The Elon Musk helped put together PayPal. A private company now gets to decide to take your money if you say something they disagree with. Insanity. Correct. Total and complete insanity. Now, what people are not picking up on is these protected classes. And that's really what I'm concerned about, is that this new movement, that, the trust the science movement, is that there is new science and there is a multitude of genders. And once again, if you read Rothblatt's first page, the first page of the book, From Transhuman to Transgender, they liken biology, in other words, what genitals you were born with, as an accident, not a divine plan, not God's will, not nature, whatever, any of those things. Decide for yourself. No. An accident. And that marking male or female on a birth certificate is like apartheid in South Africa when they marked you white or black. Nothing could be further from the truth. And by the way, apartheid was absolutely disgusting. And classifying people by their race is absolutely disgusting. And I would say, with the extension of that, the fact that you have these different racial classes, which they have, and they're not classes, right? Just races, but they try to divide them into classes all over the place in this country over the last 30, 40, 50 years. Okay? Listen, this is the second civil rights movement. And I was a big fan of the first one in this country because there was no reason for segregation other than, command and control. There was a certain class of people that wanted to control another class of people, another group, and keep them at a lower class. Disgusting, repugnant. Pit citizens against one another. And that's exactly what is continually being done now. And Jon Stewart, you ain't helping. So, The next thing I wanted to jump to, and we're going to jump away from PayPal, we're going to get into this transhuman agenda, is the trouble with being born. Strikingly intellectualism and icy formalism via the discreetly upsetting premise in Sandra Wollner's deeply fraught sci-fi production. So this young girl is playing the part of a sex robot for an adult. And if that weren't repugnant and disgusting enough, again, they had CGI nude scenes of a child. No, unacceptable. Especially now when we have deep fake technology and CGI that is absolutely 100% photorealistic. And I've heard this argument now for many, many years that, maybe that's what we should do with child abusers, is somehow once we have robotics, is give them child robots. No way. I want them out of society forever. Forever. I want people that abuse children sexually to be in prison, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, not for 20 years, for the rest of their lives, because they are completely and totally irredeemable. They have been historically and will be in the future, predators. They do not stop. They will continue their abuse once free. People talk about this Ketanji lady, the new Supreme Court justice. The way that she handled some of those pedophilia cases should have made her ineligible massively. There should have been front page headlines everywhere. Why she was not competent to take that position. But instead, she was promoted. And there's a lot of people out there now that I've seen this. They try to say, it's only the left. It's only the left that's trying to normalize this. Really? Really? Do you think that a lot of those Catholic priests out there and other religious leaders throughout they're all left-leaning? They're not conservatives? Or at least portrayed as conservatives? Dennis Hassert, the person who was labeled a serial child molester by a judge and who walks the streets today, he wasn't a leftist. No, he wasn't. All right? Foley, another one. No, he wasn't a leftist. It's all flavors, all sides. And this left-right paradigm is to get you to get into arguments with your neighbors, your friends, your family members, when if you take a step back and you have a conversation, you're going to agree more than likely on this issue. Now, that's not to say that there are currently many people on the left that have now been taken by this narrative and are promoting this narrative or trying to use language like maps. Minor attracted persons is another word, in my opinion, for somebody who should be in prison for the rest of their life. Someone who I don't want in society at all. And when you have one of these monsters that has been convicted of these crimes and society fails to do that, and then another child is abused by that person, we have failed as a society. And for those that would think, for instance, that this is kind of an impossibility and that, there's just no way that we would ever get to the level of, robot child sex toys, well, I want to show you this, okay? We've been talking about humanoid robots for quite some time here. But this is, I believe it's a mecha, and we've played a mecha before. But just look how good in real time a mecha will imitate the facial expressions of another human being. What are we really? 15, 20 years out from this technology being so lifelike that we can't tell the difference, at least on a physical and visual level, and then commercialized to those people? So let's hit it. And as you're watching this, he's got the wide eyes open. There's the blink. There's one of the engineers behind him. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's get over here. Oh, what happened there? Oh, I don't know what happened there. It's kind of just stopped on me. Didn't mean it to. Really? I was going to say, Bueller. Thumbs up, subscribe, and share while you're watching. We're going to get to your questions and comments in a moment. But as you can see, the robot that you're looking at has some pretty lifelike features. Even though we're looking at something with gray skin, you're watching in real time how it's able to mimic motion via a phone app. Via a phone app, everybody. This goes on for another minute and a half or so. And you can see the blinking, you can see the eye movement, you can now see the slight smirk on the mouth. This is what's available and being developed in public today. We can also only imagine what has been done behind closed doors. There's a nice little teeth shot, as you saw. There's a little smirkles. It's pretty wild stuff. Oh, one side, next side. You're looking at it. Ooh, oh, ew, ooh, ah, ooh. So, just to let everybody know, how profitable it is for these people who are going along with this agenda to mutilate children, and again, take away our humanity and disconnect us from our biology. It's great that Vanderbilt University has suspended this, but it's only because the public saw a clip where it was admitted these are huge money makers. And unfortunately, a lot of people out there are greedy and immoral, or on a sliding scale of morality, where they're like, you know what? I can have a boat. I can drive a really nice car. I could get a mistress if only I mutilate the genitals of several children. Wow. Gender-affirming care? Not in my book. You want to do what you want to do to your body after 18 years old, when they can send you off to war to go shoot a brown person in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere in Africa. I mean, that's when you're eligible to do that. You should probably be able to make any other life decision out there. If that's the number we've chose as a society, okay. Wait till you're an adult. I would say that your brain's still not fully developed, and you'd probably wait till want to wait until your 20s or so before you can make a very informed decision whether you want to have this type of surgery or these type of hormones or drugs pumped into your body that are going to change your life forever. Okay? But now what I see in society, which is wild to me, is that you can't smoke cigarettes until you're 21. What? I can go die in another country, but I can't smoke cigarettes until I'm 21. Now, the drinking age way back in the day, it used to be 18. Now it's 21. I struggle with that as well. It's almost like one of those unspoken open secrets that really once you're 18 and out of the house, you can pretty much get alcohol that ends up being a moneymaker for the states. Right? When they go and they raid bars or they bust liquor stores, etc. Fake IDs are abundantly available all over the place. And now those fake IDs are just being utilized for youth to get cigarettes or vaporizers, etc. Just want to point that out there. And then finally, okay, I want to point out my friend Kimberly, okay? Now, if you're looking at this here, she showed up to what was this? This was the not a superintendent's meeting. This was a board meeting, school board meeting. And they've been killing. They got the masks off of kids. She was one of the Iowa mama bears that sat there with Kim Reynolds from my state and banned them on children, banned the forcible masking of children. And you can see that she is pointing to what this performer was wearing at one of these drag shows for kids. Now, I know she's doing it ironically. She's like, this is me wearing this here is not appropriate. And our children being around such things is also not appropriate. So props to her for, showing this in public and saying, we need to stop this. And I absolutely 100% agree that this type of thing needs to be confronted. And especially if we expect to grow as human beings and try to project everything that is positive about our existence, about our true consciousness, our spirits, our souls, our eternal love for each other. Because that's when we're at our best, okay? That's when we're a numero uno. So with that being said, let's jump into some questions over here. We're going to get them in. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Boom. There we go. All right. Thank Darkosis. Thumbs up. It's been F PayPal. Yeah, no, again, look, I'm happy with what Bongino's doing. I might jump to what Bongino's doing. So, again, there are a lot of things that I would take issue with via Dan Bongino, but actions speak louder than words. And I first became aware of parallel economy through being on the Timcast show this week. And I'm so glad that we're seeing another payment processing option come out there, because PayPal has already shown its true colors time and time and time again, censoring news outlets, censoring individuals, going after those in the truckers movement in Canada, and only expect things to get worse. They also bought up their hip millennial version, aka Venmo, same company. So we do need alternative payment processors, and I would imagine that it won't be long before I have to start a parallel economy account, and hopefully I won't have to close my PayPal. Hopefully they're going to see the error of their ways, and they're going to understand that they cannot do this wrong think fining. Talk about a social credit score type system. That's not even like a warning. That's directly going after your livelihood. $2,500? $2,500. Put that into perspective. Let's say you did make 50 grand a year, which wouldn't be, that much anymore, especially with inflation. I barely survive on 50 grand a year as a single person in this country, living anywhere with any kind of amenities at all, stores, whatever. That would be 1/20th of your annual income that they just take. 1/20th of your annual income because you said something per violation. Wow. Duke Tomlinson, Bermas, how are we? If you think the unthinkable, does it remain unthinkable? No, sir, it doesn't. Got to think about that. Better think fast before the unthinkable gets away. PayPal had gone mad. $2,500 fines. New policy for users expressing their thoughts online as misinformation. Really? Yeah, you would think that they would never even discuss that in a meeting, let alone put it on paper and then digitally distribute it to its customers. But they did it. That's how brazen they are. That's how brazen they really are. Executive Order 14067, and that is the one that I believe is going to start looking into central bank digital currencies, which would be that type of policy on steroids, because centralizing these digital currencies is, again, another way to implement your social credit score, carbon market, control of everything system on a blockchain where everything is recorded. And it will go beyond track, trace, database, Internet of Things into Internet of Bodies. Because, hey, what if all of a sudden there's a medication that you must take in order to utilize your CBDCs, and that is a smart medication, as we showed you here via the RAND Corporation and the Internet of Bodies, and that smart medication shows that you did not ingest it. It's almost like that clip we played months and months and months ago of Herman Kahn, way back in the day. I believe it was in the 70s, may have even been in the 60s, at the Hudson Institute, talking about a peasant class that would have to take drugs, okay, in order to go to work and live their lives. And back then, they would have had to do a daily blood test to make sure that they were actually taking those drugs. Via the Internet of Bodies and technology now, you don't need a blood test. It's telling you. It's got the GPS locale, baby. That's not science fiction. That's happening now. Hey, TJ. Everybody's saying hello. No Rumble. I'm on the road right now. And what I've been doing, because I'm on the road, I can safely do 2 streams. I could probably get away with a 3rd stream as well. But what I'm doing on Rumble is basically I'm putting it out over on Rumble after the fact. I would be streaming live on Rumble if I thought I had to do a uncensored portion of the broadcast. And once I'm home, we're going to go back to streaming to all 4. I am disappointed that Twitter has done this. I'm going to show you this in real time. It used to be if you broadcast on Twitter, that you had a thumbnail. It was one of the reasons I did it, so that once I started broadcasting on Twitter, you could see the thumbnail, you would know what to do, etc., etc. Well, that's gone. So if I go over to Jason Bermas, I had my pinned tweet, and it was exposing the masquerade, right? But now you just get a URL for the broadcast. You actually have to click on it, and then all of a sudden, you get to see the thumbnail. Isn't that odd that Twitter doesn't want you to pin something or scroll through something so you can get a look at not only the thumbnail, but then while the person's broadcasting? So I'm going to have to take that tweet down as my pinned tweet, find something else. But that's just another form of soft censorship so that they can continue to try to push their great narrative on behalf of their repackaged New World Order Great Reset agenda. That's what's happening there. All right, let's keep going. Saw him on Timcast. Great job, Jason. Thank you, Pimo. I thought I did a pretty good job. At the same time, I could have got more and more out there. It's tough on a panel show, but like I said, Tim was great with me. You know, he let me talk. He let me flesh out my points. There wasn't a lot of pushback, and when there was pushback, I've got the documents. We've got the documents. Glad I caught you live. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Been waiting for this. I appreciate that. Thanks for hitting the like button, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you, Karen. Karen has done a great job as one of my newer mods, by the way, and she's a long-time listener. So thank you so much for helping us out. What up, Carooster? Hey, from Australia. Gross isn't the word, guys. Oh, there's a big jump. Jump to the bottom. Let's see. Let's bring it back up. 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 There we go. Let's see. What up, JB? Oh, whoa, Scott Bailey. I haven't seen you in there for a while. Hey there, Bermas Brigade. Hope everyone is enjoying what's left of the weekend. I'm getting ready to hit the road tomorrow morning. 14.5-hour drive back to Iowa. Calling some professional fights Friday and Saturday. CagedAggression.tv. I can't wait. It's going to be me and my main man, Pat Militich. And then I'm also going to be able to call a night of fights with the legend, Little Evil, Jens Pulver. Pumped sauce. I love those weekends. So yeah, there's a lot of driving coming up, a lot of traveling. After that, I'm driving back here, another 15 hours outside of DC, and then we are going to be moving on to Scranton, Pennsylvania once again at the Reawaken America Tour. I think there's still about 800 tickets. So if you are in the Scranton area, okay, the Great Awakening versus the Great Reset, Clay Clark's Reawaken America Tour, name your price, and there's still a few thousand over at Branson, Missouri, which I believe I'm also going to be speaking out. So once again, pumped, because we're not just here to preach to the choir. It's one of the reasons I was really excited to go on Timcast. I'm trying to bring in more people to this information so that they can share it with others and get a larger perspective that this two-party system is just another mechanism for the command control New World Order that this social Darwinist predator class wants to come into being. The not only transhumanist future, but the post-human future for the vast majority of us. Let's see what we got. We got a AO, we got to love Australia. We got a sick mother effers. Yeah, you're not kidding. Sick indeed. Eric N., this ain't news. What are you talking about? What's not news? I don't know what you're talking about. Damn, everyone is here. Hell yeah. Look at that. MF Doom's here. We got 3 mods in a row. That almost never happens. Scott, most awesome to see you. Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while. Ever seen The Professional with Jean Reno and a 13-year-old Natalie Portman? I have. And let me say that there were some disturbing aspects of that, but at the same time, I believe when Portman tries to sexually advance on the adult, it doesn't happen. You know, I remember The Professional because it was a really interesting film. And, you know, there might have been some, I guess, subversive themes, subliminal themes, but it certainly wasn't a full-on sexual relationship between a child and a grown man. The video, the film that we are, is not only that, but it includes, again, CGI nude scenes of a child and the very real transhumanist element of that child being a robot. Gross, repugnant, disgusting. Heyo, heyo. And we got an okay over here. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Pizza, you know what, was right about what was going on with the weirdos. What makes them think this is even good for themselves, let alone sell it to us or force it on society? Again, they're trying to deconstruct, common sense morality. They're trying to get rid of any type of nuclear traditional family where you are a team, where you protect your brothers, your sisters, your mother, your father, where you can work out disagreements. Let me tell you, relationships are tough. They're not easy. Man and wife, tough. Man and son, tough. Mom and daughter, tough. There's some tough stuff there. And believe me, there's been some times where me and my brother or me and my sister didn't see eye to eye on very, very important issues, or one person was extremely disappointed or upset with the other. You gotta push through that. They don't want that. They don't want that type of human unconditional love. Instead, they want you to be in this very sociopathic state of me, 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 and really it is experiences and objects that you should really covet, if you will. You should be covetous towards those things instead of the real things that matter. You want to covet the family above everything else, because at the end of the day, that's how we improve humanity. And that's why your gut hurts so much when you lose a loved one forever. That's why death stings so much, because inherently, that's who we are as a people. Okay, that's the truth. Brother Doom. I'll catch Rich and GTW crew at work tomorrow. How we doing? Nah, it's good to see you in there. Just catching the live show, Scott. How are you? By the way, let's get the thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Let's get 150 thumbs, can we? And by the way, we are kicking Arnis and taking names over at Rumble. We are at 14,000.2 subscribers. Love to get to 15,000 before the end of the week. We're growing there. And don't forget Red Voice Media. Obviously, we're at Reality Rants. There is a fresh one every single Friday, but we are going to start doing that 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. live show Monday through Thursday, where you're going to be able to call in the last half an hour. So pumped. So redvoicemedia.net/Jason. Sign up right now for $1 for the first month, and then it's $10 a month or $100 for the year. Hey, you want to get a $100 subscription over there from that helps me out a lot. That's a big deal. That means you're invested in the Bermas Brigade and an outlet that is allowing me to do this without any censorship whatsoever. Even I, not knowing much about Red Voice Media before I was put in touch with the person who runs it, who's been tremendous to me, I was a little worried that there were certain things that maybe they weren't going to want me to discuss, or there was going to be a certain conservative slant or viewpoint. There's not. The red from Red Voice is the fire of humanity, in my opinion. So when I think about Red Voice, I think about fiery talk that's coming from my heart into the realm of reality, completely uncensored. So I want to thank them again for everything they're doing to promote the show. They've been awesome. Absolutely awesome. By the way, the Julian Assange exclusive we did, the action for Assange, which I wasn't able to get out to, which was a little bit disappointing, looked awesome. I watched some of the speeches by Chris Hedges and others, and I was just totally and completely pumped to see really global protests for people coming out for Assange. And we need that amplified not by 5 times, not by 10 times, not by 100 times, but by literally tens of thousands of times, because that is the issue. Talk about thought crimes. You talk about prosecution. One of the people speaking out there said, look, they didn't go after him because he was challenging democracy. They were going after him because he was exposing that we're becoming a dictatorship here in this country. That's the reality. Okay? Let's keep doing it. Let's see. You are right about this transhuman agenda to annihilate humanity. Yes, I am, Tangela. Yes, I am. I wish I wasn't. Believe me, I didn't think I was going to see it at this level in my lifetime. And the acceleration of this stuff, it gives me chills all the time. It's hard for me not to think about. It's almost impossible for me not to think about. Satan science, Satan. It certainly is satanic, even if you don't believe in Lucifer or you're not a Christian, in the realm of the inversion of reality, which is truly what Satanism is. And, you'll have your different sects of Satanism. You'll have a lot of people that act like Satanism is really, I don't believe in any God, and I'm an atheist, and I'm really just an ultra-libertarian. But then once you just start peeling back the layers a little bit, just a tiny bit, you find out that is not the case. And that these people, in many cases, are heavily religious in a dark and sadistic manner. It's Tim Osman. Rich and the GTW crew will be going till 2 a.m. Yes, Grand Theft World is doing it big. He does those long broadcasts. Let's see. It's like a family reunion up in here. It really does feel that way. The Bermas Brigade back together again for the very first time. When you are done with your tyrannical gal, what does that even mean? Who is this anonymous loser, Eric N. Tyrannical? We're about freedom here. We're about freedom of religion, freedom of choice. We're about empowering humanity. We're against enslavement. We're against the mutilation of children. We're against the restriction of speech. We're against the social credit score system. We're against true techno-fascism. All right. Fascism, for those that still are ignorant to that manner, is something we've lived under in this country for quite some time. Hate to tell you, it's not a democracy. It's not a constitutional republic like it was set out to be. No, the state has already merged with big tech. And those big tech systems are really Trojan horse civilian systems to help enslave and decimate humanity on this very real globalist agenda. Everyone subscribe who hasn't yet. Yep, let's get to 70,000. We're almost there. We're like a nut's hair away from 70,000. I think we're like 80 people away. Flick off. Thank you so much for all the support you've given over the years, man. I really do appreciate it. We may not always see eye to eye on issues, but I know in my heart of hearts that you support freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and I know that you think that I do too, even when we disagree. And that's a big thing, right? Not only the relationship with my audience, but with others. Even when I'm dismissive, I will always allow somebody to have another opinion. Now, if I don't agree with that opinion, I'm going to challenge it. I may be really stubborn on it, but that's because that's what I really believe. And that doesn't mean that my opinions can't be changed based upon evidence. But maybe that evidence has to be really strong, or maybe I don't see that evidence in the same light that another person does. And I think that's the true strength of our diversity as a people, is the ability to communicate with one another, put those things out there, sometimes sway someone's opinion, sometimes not, but accept at the end of the day that we can still hang out and be friends, even if we do disagree. For instance, Maher, and Bill Maher, there's a lot I disagree with, but he was talking about how he was having a dinner party last night. And that he had said that he'd mentioned to one of his friends, he referred to them as a friend, of one of the guests. And one of the guests basically refused to come up to the party because they didn't want to breathe the same air as somebody who voted for Trump. And he called that person an asshole. Because yes, they are an asshole. If you can't sit down and break bread with somebody because of the way that they voted, what hope is there for further communication? What hope is there for providing a road to where we can actually fix problems instead of break down society so that we have more and more problems? And that's not collectivism. That is collectively agreeing to have discussions so that we can find a way to come to terms via the majority that empowers humanity instead of enslaving it. Let's see. We'll keep going down. Haha, it is Scott. Yes, it is. For real, Scott. Scott Bailey back into his house. Let's see. Hey, Flick. Gitsy. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Spiro? It's good to see you, man. I know Spiro just got back up on Twitter, canceled his PayPal, and I believe he's got a new video up there as well. Good to see you. I've never had him on the program, and that's just that's a tragedy in itself. I'd love to get. In fact, Spiro, if you're still watching this, because I know that you probably posted that down like 20 minutes ago, please, man, DM me and let's get you on my broadcast when we start going live on Red Voice Media for the 2 hours a day. I think you would be probably one of the best guests to have, and I'd love to have you in that first week, that rookie week over at Red Voice, where we're kicking off the show. For those that haven't heard his voice and seen his stuff, I would really encourage you to check him out. And I'm sure, there are times that me and him disagree, by the way, which is good. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Thanks, TJ. You too. Don't touch the children. After 18, you do you. And I agree. I agree, especially at that 18 level, because if that's the one where we're going to agree that you can send somebody off to war to die, that has to be the number. That has to be it. Period. Let's see. Hey, at Censored Spiro. Everybody loves Spiro. So you're going to be on AM Wake Up tomorrow. Oh, you're going on AM Wake Up. Yeah, that's another great show. Make sure you go check out Steve Poikinen and Craig Postajardula over there, over at the Rockfin. By the way, we Rockfinning right now. And let me talk about the Rockfin for a minute. Another great way. I think we're at like 66,000 over there. And oh, by the way, we got some big tips over here I didn't see. Telegraph, what up, brother? Here's some gas money for your upcoming travels to spread the truth. God bless and take care, homie. Thank you so much, Telegraph. Gotta propagate the Adam Curry. Value for value. You bring much value to our lives. Please never stop. Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't even tell you how much thank you on that. Because Rockfin's another way that really has supported me. I wouldn't be able to do this broadcast, quite frankly, if it weren't for Rockfin in the past couple of years. And you talk about value for value. I was trying to get on the No Agenda stream. I was actually, that's one of the reasons I started my Podbean in the first place, was to have an RSS feed and have an audio version of my podcast that they could play over there, because I am a fan of the value for value model that the No Agenda folks bring. And at the very least, I'd love to have Adam Curry on my program or Dvorak on my program. And I'd love to be a guest over there, because I do think what they're talking about via decentralization is a big deal. And quite frankly, I feel blessed that I found somebody like Red Voice to take me to the next level where, again, there is some value to my work aside from what can be taken away via big tech. Because we all know that YouTube, listen, aside from the massive shadow banning, I've had that channel since 2007, guys. 2007. We're talking about 15 years. Okay, 15 years I've had my YouTube channel. I think I had it monetized for about 2 years before it got taken away for the last 3. And forget about just that, but the fact that my stuff is not recommended, that I'm still not even at forget about 70,000. We should be well over 100,000 followers. If the algorithm were fair, then obviously my channel would be a lot bigger. Yeah, I am happy for my old We Are Change buddy, Luke Radowski, also on the Timcast show, for the fact that his channel was able to be monetized again. Now, he said to me that he didn't even reapply. Now, right now, I could reapply, and maybe we should reapply. Maybe we should make a whole video of me reapplying for monetization on YouTube, because it would be a kick to be monetized again. And just that alone, even if they shadow banned it, gives it that much more of an elevation where we can reach more people, and maybe some people that accidentally click on a Jason Bermas video or get a link after watching some cat videos or some twerking or some Johnny nonsense out there, right? All right, let's continue down the line. Man, maybe I'll have to check out, well, I'm probably going to be on the road for AM Wake Up tomorrow. And Trump helped that crap right along. What crap was that? I'm not quite sure what crap we're talking about. Okay, so what, we're repeating ourselves now? I mean, when you're a faceless avatar bot and you really don't have anything to say, is that what you say? You repeat yourself, you copy and paste? Are they also, they are removing healthy body parts. That is against the Hippocratic Oath. You're damn right they are. To children. To children. You're supposed to protect children. You're supposed to love children. You're supposed to play with children. You're supposed to teach children so that they grow up into healthy adults and do the same to the next generation of youth. Okay? Not destroy their lives forever. Ugh. Though I would argue maybe even wait till 21 or mid-20s. The whole argument that a person's mind doesn't fully develop till their mid-20s. I believe that. At the same time, 9/11 happened when I was 22. And I felt like I was developed enough that I began my journey into the reality of parapolitics, what some people call the deep state, and the media, military, industrial complex. And listen, sliding scales, right? Not everybody develops at the same time physically. Not everybody develops the same times mentally. And quite frankly, when you go to a state school in New York and half of your friends and the vast majority of those kids are from Long Island, mentally those are children sometimes into their 30s. They're living with mommy and daddy in the basement or their bedroom, sometimes past their 30s. And right there, to me, that's a kind of mental illness, and that you didn't fully form into an independent human being. And there are some people that never launch, right? That never launch into that. But that's what they want. They want dependence, not only on parental units, but now they want to destroy the parental units and get you dependent on the state. And that's why the universal basic income is that next step in this very real transhumanist agenda to get you prepared for automation, to get you prepared to eat what they tell you and drive what they tell you, and that you are no longer allowed to be under an abundance model. Instead, everything is artificial scarcity, okay, and planned obsolescence. Let's see. That's right, Doom, 9 a.m. Pacific-ish. So I guess that's noon. Maybe if I'm on the road and I've got a decent internet connection, we'll hook in the audio and we will watch Spiro over on AM Wake Up. Those are three of my favorites, guys. Jon Stewart is just like Trump, another front for the Illuminati. PayPal, get woke, go broke. I hate saying that. I hate saying the term woke. I fought it all over the place. It's like I was thinking about it the other day, and there's a lot of things in internet culture that are popular, especially now, that I've just never been a huge fan of. And probably the biggest one are emojis. And I know a lot of people love to use the emojis. And I remember, going back to my mid-20s, maybe early 30s, where they were just getting popular, and my girlfriend at the time loved using the emojis. And she's probably the only one that I emojied back ever. But then I started seeing it on social media. I remember, I think I joined the Twitterverse 2010, 2011, and I just felt like, wait a minute, I'm not a child. Why can't I just articulate these ideas with words? And I think it's also part of this eternal infant mentality, right? I guess it's language, and then the de-evolution of language, right? To symbols like they used to scratch on the caves. Just my opinion. Your U.S. people are all guilty. I don't even know what that means. I mean, if you're going to be a bot that's disruptive, could you come up with something that's coherent, or is that too tough? Indeed, Trump is a Freemason. I've heard all this stuff about Trump being a Freemason. Is that even real? Can anybody send me a DM of any proof that Trump is a Freemason? By the way, I know Masons. Only in the very uppermost echelons would I say that any of them have any other kind of a nefarious agenda that people discuss. I know that there are a lot of famous Masons in politics and business over the years. Masonry historically was a very large political movement, to the point that the Masons came into play as a political party in our American history. So I find that very interesting. I find round table groups very interesting. But just because somebody is a member of such and such, I also want to see the fruits of their labor before I start, oh no, he's a Mason, he's bad. My good friend Pat Miletich is a Mason. A lot of these people join these things for social camaraderie and brotherhood in the same manner that I joined my fraternity in college. Iota Tau Kappa, brown and white, we out of sight. Let's see. I thought they pulled back on that Johnny nonsense. Oh, they did. Oh, they pulled right back on it. Just the fact that they put it to paper, though, like I said, Scott, was wild. They only care about money and power. They were testing the water, Scott. Yes, they were. Rope is cheap and gravity is free. We don't call for violence here, ever and ever, even coded violence. That's not what we do. And by the way, I've never done that because the minute something like that pops off, we lose as a society. We lose as humanity. These people at the top would like nothing more for us to devolve into a physical civil war against our neighbors. I mean, they would just be so happy. And the negative energy that just, they'd feel so good about it and so satisfied. And I don't want to give them that satisfaction. I want the complete opposite of that. I don't know what projecting means. Again, you haven't made a coherent statement at all yet. Not once. Let's see. Good point. I was thinking legal age. Let's see. This is like the tattoos they gave the Jewish people before they killed them. Zeros and ones. I wonder why we didn't show that one. Yikes, dude. I don't know what that is. The biggest contract for the DOD. Musker Nuts. His name is Elon Musker Nuts. He is the Musker Nuts. Again, there's no coherence from the bot person. Any PayPal alternatives? Again, Bongino's got parallel economy. It's probably what we're going to be moving to. I'm going to start looking into it once I settle in. I'm not traveling as much, and we get on a schedule. There are only two genders. I learned that in the first grade 45 years ago. The mollusk. Good point at Jason Bermas. Elon is PayPal Mafia. You're goddamn right he is. You goddamn right he is. But now he gets to oppose their policies and act like the savior. Elon Musk loves you. He only wants to put a brain chip in you. He only wants sustainable living. He only wants electric cars. He only wants to arm the Ukrainians with air machines of death, Starlink. He only wants to empower DARPA and the U.S. military industrial complex. He only wants to move military cargo anywhere in the world in an hour. He was only partnering up with and really brought into fruition on these DOD deals via Michael Griffin of the NSA, of NASA, and the CIA. But you can find all of that stuff out at length on my interview yesterday. My interview yesterday with Clay Clark of the Reawaken America Tour. And man, I like Clay, man. I really, really do like Clay because Clay has been really gracious once we started having conversations and he started looking into my information. And that shows me that he's a genuine guy. That he actually believes in his religion, that he is not a grifter. I know what it takes to put on events like this. Okay, let me reiterate that. I know exactly what it takes to put on events like this. And I'm telling you right now, he ain't making any money. He's losing money the vast majority of the time. And it's only because he's a successful businessman outside of this that he's even able to do that tour. So I may not agree with all the positions that are taken or all the speakers out there, but that's okay because he's letting me get my message out and he believes in what he's saying. It is science. You just had to how to spell it right. Science. Yeah, psyop science. Felon Musk or Felon Musk. Stripe may be an alternative. Stripe denied me twice. So one of the reasons that I am not on Locals, which is the paid type of Rumble, right? And even before they merged with Rumble, Locals reached out to me. I was ready to make a Locals, and then Stripe denied me. And then Stripe denied me again. I tried twice with Stripe. So Stripe's just another one of those companies I don't want anything to do with. Let's see. Thank you, Professor Jason, for speaking out against racial status. Let me say this. My man Ice-T just put out a brand new video with his group Body Count, okay? And remember, cop killer was a big thing and a big controversy, and he really mainlined himself over the years. Now, he gives about a 1-minute speech about Black Lives Matter and how he thinks that once somebody says all lives matter kind of degrades that because we're talking about black lives. And then he explains himself further. But then they break into the song, and he basically says, hey, this is class warfare. Doesn't matter what color you are, Hispanic, black, poor white trash. Once we figure out that's the case and we come together, they can't stop us. And that message, I retweeted it. So if you're not following me on Twitter, you can go check it out. I may not have agreed maybe necessarily as the way he phrased the beginning, right? But I certainly agreed with the message. And I think, again, that's okay that we're going to have that disagreement. Let's see. I closed my account today. There you go, Gray Lady. Thanks, Dragon. Let's start one ourselves, a billionaire. Whatever. I mean, what is this person doing? Benny Hinn. That can't be the real Benny Hinn. Can it? Thieves, cyberpunk shit. People are telling me I need to check out Cyberpunk 2077. I didn't play the game. I don't know what the theme is, but maybe I do need to check that out. Dimensions of Eugenics. This was controversial a couple years ago, so when it came out, still controversial, of course. Yeah, 2020. Like I said, 2020. What I didn't realize, because I believe I heard about it 2 years ago, I didn't realize that they had CGI sex scenes of the child. That is just, I'm blown away. I'm blown away someone didn't go to prison for that. Like, what do you mean? CGI sex scenes. Gross. 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 Not okay. Unacceptable. Disgusting. Let's keep going. Fire up the wood chippers, lads. Again, we're about peace and love here. Peace and love. Listen, my greatest superpower is my voice, right? It's communication. It's not my fist. It's not my elbow. It's not a weapon, all right? I love me some mixed martial arts. Like I said, we're calling fights next weekend, but there's a time and a place for that. It's called self-defense or in the cage or in the ring. That's where the time and the place is. Violence, unfortunately, is rarely the solution to the problem. Not always. Sometimes violence will solve some problems for sure, especially when someone's being aggressive and there is no other way. But sometimes it really needs to be regarded as a last resort instead of a preemptive strike. We need preemptive strikes. Team me up, JB. I got to get my line in. I'm not sure what that means, Scott. Mandatory physical castration. ITD, Knott's thing. I don't know what ITD means. I don't know what Knott's thing means. I mean, I guess if you're going to have a troll, an incompetent, incoherent one is better than somebody who's completely and totally insincere that's just putting out predator class talking points. Just saying. Depopulation is working. I don't want a millionaire, just a forest hermit. LOL. Let's keep going down the line. Milestones all around. When you make situations about people before making them about actions, you're not looking for a solution. You're looking for a fight. I like that, Prime. I like that. Oh, look at you. Yes, look at me. Nonces are ambidextruses. I don't know what that means. Geez, Jenny Simon. I'm not even going to read it. You know what? We've gone an hour. Hassert was the longest ever serving Republican Speaker of the House. Correct, Spiro. Correct. My man, Spiro, I hope you have a great broadcast over on AM Wake Up. Once again, I'm going to shout it out. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I want you to watch them. I want you to share them. I think they're important to this very day, especially Shade the Motion Picture, An Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. That will give you a blueprint for where they want to take this, where they want to move it, and expose their actions in the past and their modus operandi. And if you still haven't come to the realization of what actually happened on 9/11, Loose Change Final Cut and Fabled Enemies, I feel like they are the seminal films on the matter. Are they perfect? Nope. But what is? But they are some of the greatest tools out there, and they are free of charge and always will be. So please watch them and share them. You want to support the broadcast? Buy me a coffee down below. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Big donors. Couldn't do it without you. Telegraph again. Very generous over at the Rockfin. I really, really do appreciate that. Without people like that, again, we wouldn't be able to do it. We're on Rumble. This video will be posted over to Rumble right after the fact, probably within the next 5 minutes that we're off. And then, of course, it's the Rockfin. Okay, look at all these other great creators on there. How does Spiro, how are you not on Rockfin, bro? Like, you should be on Rockfin, period. So Jay Dyer, there's Sloan Newsday, Richard Medhurst, Ron Placone, Charlie Robinson of Macroaggressions, Vanessa Bealey. There's your boy Jason Bermas going by, The Last American Vagabond, Richard Andrew Grove with Grand Theft World, my boy Jamie Deluxe, The Conscious Resistance, Conspiracy Social Club, $9.99 a month. You hit the subscribe button on a desktop for me. You endorse me at $9.99 or 1 year, $100, you save 20. Also, a great way to support the broadcast. Then you get everybody. It's like a Netflix for creators. And once again, come join me on the Reawaken America tour, not this weekend, but next out in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all on the flip side.